Okay, today we are going to learn about masks. So let's create a new document. Let's go to File, New, Blank File, and we can title it Intro to Masking. And let's just do 5 inches by 5 inches, and we can just have the resolution pretty low at 72. That's fine. Go ahead and hit OK. And what I want you to do right now, before we get into masks, we need to create a few layers just so that we can, so I can kind of explain what masks are and how they work. So let's go ahead and create a new layer by clicking down here, and let's rename this blue. And we're going to go to the paint bucket and color it in a shade of blue. And then we're going to create a new layer. Let's label that, let's say, yellow. And let's go ahead and color that in a shade of yellow as well. And let's do one more layer. And let's rename that red and color it in red. Okay, now we have our layer palette right here. Let me open this up a little bit more so that you can see it. And we have red, yellow, blue. Let's go ahead and let's drag this blue up to the top, and then let's drag the yellow in the middle. And this is just to kind of review that we can drag and change the level of where each layer is. So we can drag up and down and reposition the layers as we see fit. Now, let's go ahead and add a mask. Click on the top layer, and I want you to click on this button right here where it says add layer mask. Right? You click on it and take a look what happens. This white box appears right to the right of the blue box. Now a mask is something that enables you to cover up a portion or all of a layer so that you can see what's beneath. Think of it like an eraser tool. If you erase something from a layer, what's going to appear is what's on the next layer below. But the great thing about mask is that it's not a destructive edit. You can always go back and change it. So just like, unlike an eraser tool where if you erase something, you can't go back and cover it up unless you go back into your history, and that, is time consuming. So the mask is very, very useful. Let me show you how to use it. Once you have the mask selected, you can see the difference between the mask being selected right now and then the blue part of the layer being selected. Make sure that the mask is selected right here. Click on your paintbrush, and with the paintbrush, I want you to make sure that it's black. When it's black, let's go ahead and change your brush size to about 50 or so. And what you can do is click and drag and go ahead and just make a square and color that in. And you can see that the mask, when I'm on the paintbrush and I'm on black, the mask, it's burning through this mask and showing what's below, which is the yellow layer. That's why you see yellow, right? And right here on the layer palette, whatever's black is what's masked out, and you'll see whatever's underneath is underneath it. So we burn through this with the mask, with the paintbrush, and it being black to see what's below. Now the cool thing about the mask is you can do two things with this. You can right click, disable the mask to take it off. You can also just click on it to enable it again. And you can also switch your paintbrush from black to white. And let's say you're like, you know what, I made the square too big. I wanted to make it a little bit smaller. So what you can do is, if you have the white selected, you can cover up some of that mask, or you can cover up the whole thing if you want, something like that. And now it's back to white. So this is a great example of non-destructive editing. You can go back and forth. You can mask something and then cover it up if you decide at a later time you don't want it. So for now, let's stick with this square, this yellow square, and I want you to just take a minute, switch over to white, and I want you to just cover it up. Why don't we just do that? What I just did, just so that you can get practice covering it up and burning through the mask. So after a minute of playing around and burning through the mask and covering it up, let's go ahead and make that square again. And now I want you to click on the yellow layer. I want you to click on Add a Layer Mask. And I want you to use your paintbrush and burn through that. And when you burn through that mask, you'll see that it appears to be red, or it is red. And then let's go ahead and click on your red layer, add a mask, and I just want you to make it even smaller. Right, something like that. So now you can see that we've burned through these masks. Now let's go ahead and let's disable the mask. Let's practice that. Right click over the red mask and go to disable. And that takes it away, but it doesn't permanently take it away. You can always click on it and it'll enable the mask again. Let's say if I right click disable this, then it turns it completely blue, even though these masks are still in place, because this mask is not active right now, so it's solid blue. That's why you don't see the yellow and the red. Okay? So let's go ahead and let's click on the masks and let's go back and cover them up. So we're going to cover them up, each mask. You have to be on the white. White will cover up. And the last thing I want to show you right now with the masks, and we're going to be using masks a lot with our activities and assignments. Click on the top mask right here. Make sure the mask is selected, and then I want you to make sure your brush size is still around 50 pixels, and select the black. And what you can do is you can also use your selection tools, you know, if you wanted like a perfect square, and then use the paint bucket black, or paint bucket, and color it in, and then that'll create a square shaped mask. Or if you want to use the polygonal lasso tool, you can create a design, right, and then use your paint bucket and burn through that mask as well. So it doesn't have to be the paintbrush. You can use the paint bucket as well. So go ahead and take a minute and try some custom shapes using your selection tools. And once you've made a few custom shapes, let's go ahead and turn the eye off of this layer. And I just want to focus on the yellow layer now. Let's go back to your paintbrush and make sure that you're on black. And I want you to just drag a straight line down. And you can see that it burned all the way through to the red. That's because the opacity is at 100. If I change the opacity to about 80, you can see that it's a little bit lighter, a little bit more transparent. Keep on changing it from 80, let's say, to 60, around 60. A little bit lighter to 40, a little bit lighter, and all the way to 20, which is even lighter. So and take a look at the mask right here. You can see the discrepancy in the opacity. You can change the opacity of your mask as well. It doesn't have to be 100% burning through. You can burn through different opacity settings as well, which can come in handy when you're starting to blend photos together. Okay? So go ahead and practice this. Make sure you just get, maybe in maybe in intervals of 20. Go from 100 to 80% to 60% to 40% to 20%.